Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Anna Clements, and this is Audiobooks with Anna, where we explore the fascinating world of audiobooks with industry experts. We're stopping today to chat in Narrators Assemble about VOAtlanta, and I'm absolutely thrilled that Lynn and Jessica have agreed to come along and chat with us, basically about this year's event, about the adventure that is VOAtlanta, and hopefully we'll cover some of the things that are audiobook specific. There will be another opportunity to chat all things audiobooks on the Tuesday Audiobook Industry Chat, and I will say this several times, but do remember that Lynn and Jessica are on Clubhouse every week on the VOAtlanta session that they run. So if you've got any questions or have any thoughts, they're always there too. Let's get going. Lynn, Jessica, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. It's very kind of you to be here.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Hi, very welcome. Give us an overview, ladies. Lynn, I'm going to go first with you just because you came up to the sofa first.
Okay.
Give us a bit of your background and the story of how you got into this madness that is the largest conference of voiceover in the world.
Sure. I have been a voiceover actor. I was part-time when I started going to VOAtlanta. I still had a day job, but I've been to every VOAtlanta except the very first one as an attendee. And then probably, I think it was 2019, 18 or 19 that I started teaching, got invited to teach on outsourcing and other stuff. So I got to participate at a little different level. And then when J. Michael and Anna Collins took over VOAtlanta, when Gerald decided he wanted to retire from running the conference, and they purchased it and took over. Then, because I was already on J. Michael's team, working for the JMC Demos team, doing various sundry things, then there was an opportunity for me to help doing some of the graphic work, and then that turned into doing all the graphic work and helping with the marketing and setting up the second year. We used a different website the very first year that we took over, and then we said, okay, we need a different system. So we set up a new event system, and so I did that. And yeah, so it's just been kind of being more and more involved as time goes on.
I am absolutely loving how well you are skipping over the idea of setting up entire systems and using brand new apps and software. So we will get into that later because, of course, you
Sure.
came to us, I'm trying to remember, perhaps a year ago now, with your VA for VO company. We had a great
Right.
chat about that. So if anybody wants to hear about that, do go listen to the replay because that's a great one as well. But Lynn, you did brush over very, very, very nonchalantly the amount of effort and energy that must go into running something like this. So we're going to have to come back to all of that. But
Sure.
I take it it's something you enjoy because you appear to always take these things in your stride, and you always seem very calm about the whole thing.
Oh, well, that's all on the surface.
Yes, like crazy,
No,
crazy
I'm
duck
kidding.
feet underneath.
There, right. There are times where it gets to be stressful when we run up against deadlines and stuff like that. And Jessica can talk even more to this, but things are always in flux, right? We set a schedule, we put out, everything we're going to teach, but then people and things change sometimes. So we have to wait until we're pretty close to deadlines before we can formalize things sometimes. So yeah, there is some scrambling occasionally, but we do try to keep it, chill.
Let me go to Jessica then and ask you the same question, if I may, Jessica. What's your background story and how on earth did you get caught up in this whirlwind that is, again, the largest VO conference in the world?
Oh, well, so I started in voiceover in 2019, kind of a serendipitous conversation between my son and I on the way to get a rental car for him to go pick up a truck. He's an over-the-road truck driver and had to pick up a truck in a different area. And he told me about this audiobook he was listening to and wanted me to listen to it. And I was running a small business and doing business consultation, and it was the slow season. And I was like, I would love to do that. I love books. I love audiobooks. Maybe I could figure out how to do that. And so I did. And so then I got into audiobooks. And then when the pandemic came along and everybody and their dog decided that they were going to be an audiobook narrator on ACX, I decided that I needed to go get some more training so that I could be more marketable and kind of rise to the top. And discovered all of the other facets of voiceover, and have been working in voiceover since. But as far as what I did before that, I've been an event planner for well over 20 years, have had my own event planning business in like my local regional area, and ended up volunteering at One Voice in 2021, the year when there was the travel ban and the UK team could not come over at the last minute, except for they kind of routed Harry through one place. And I think Gina had two passports and could go on one, but not the other. And those are the only two people from the entire One Voice team that could make it. And so Anna and GMC had to kind of step in and run things on the ground. And it was my first conference ever. And I thought, okay, well, I'm a little bit bored because I'm also a little ADHD. And I got there early and got bored really quick. And so instead of resting, I wandered downstairs to the production office and said, hey, is there anything that you could use some help with? And Gina, we all know Gina, says, yeah, get your ass in here. So I started helping and ended up, one of the things that I ended up doing was, well, I did a lot of different things. I just have different skills and whatnot. And then Anna and GMC needed somebody to help with like the awards and having to do all of that. And they said that they liked what they saw and asked me to help again, but they didn't need me in the next year. And then they ended up buying VOAtlanta. And I just happened to have Anna's email address still. So I figured, okay, if this is inappropriate, I'll ask for forgiveness. And I emailed her and said, hey, if you're ever looking for some help, I would love to be involved. And she said, that'd be awesome. So here I am.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Do you know, there's so much serendipity in the entire industry, isn't it? You know, it's such a giving and enjoyable space. And actually just stepping up and going, may I or can I or shall I? You know, sometimes people, you're in the right place at the right time. So well done you. Talk to us then about this year specifically, because is it 2 years now that they took over from, so what number VOAtlanta are we on?
Oh gosh,
This
let's
is
see
your
here.
third
Are
year.
we on? Yeah, it's our third
So
year
13.
with Anna and JMC.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, it's 13.
Amazing. That's incredible. And talk to us about how this year feels by comparison, because I know we spoke about VOAtlanta, I think 2 years ago. So when it was the first time of taking over and everything was kind of, it was all a big question mark and nobody was very sure how, and it went beautifully, by the way. So thank you. I had a lovely time. But I missed it last year and I'm not sure if we chatted, but now we're here. What thoughts of this year? What news of talk us through, Lynn, what you were saying just now about the different apps and the software and the changes that you've seen. Talk us through how this year is different.
Yeah, so every year we improve something. So the very first year, because it was the first year, and we were still working with the website that was available to us. Voice Actor Websites was hosting it and doing a great job, so it wasn't a problem with that. It just wasn't set up as a registration system, so that became a very manual challenge. So God bless Gerald. I guess he didn't actually use that either. He used a different system as well, but 10 years of figuring it out. And we kind of jumped into the deep end and went, okay, next year we have to improve this. So we did. And we put a registration system in place. And so the website's kind of built around that. So it's not your regular, e-commerce type of website. It's a registration website, which is great because that gives us the ability to host a few different events with that software. And we get better every year with the software. Last year, we did the X-Session sale a little differently than we did it this year. It may not look different to anybody who comes on the front end and buys an X-Session or whatever, but on the back end, it was a lot more scrambling last year. So this year, we improved that. Next year, we'll improve something else. We try every year to make things better. The user experience is a little bit confusing still, but as people get used to it, I think they'll be less worried about it. There's a feature that when you log in, once you've registered and bought your ticket, when you log in, again, it shows you your ticket. It shows you everything you've ever purchased. But at first, that can look like it's trying to make you buy it over again. So we get a little bit of confusion about that. We've put notes all over the website, like stop, read this first. So if you see something like that when you're looking at the website, it's just so that we're trying to cover all our bases and preemptively answer a question anybody might have when it comes to the registration part of it. Yeah, and we we get better at knowing what we need to do marketing wise. So yeah, it's been a learning curve, but it's good. We're every year we try to improve something.
Lovely. Speaking of the schedule, because I know that I put in a personal complaint 2 years ago about how difficult that Excel spreadsheet was to read. And I remember being slapped on the wrists, quite rightly so, when you explained quite how complicated it was and how difficult. And I must say, last year and this year, it's incredible. I mean, it is so much easier to read and makes so much more sense and kind of flows beautifully. So has that been part and parcel, sort of the behind the scenes? There must be so much that goes on that we know nothing about. But huge congratulations to you, I think is what I'm really saying.
Thanks. Yeah, the spreadsheet layout, of course, is a little bit different than the way that the website lays things out. And so that makes it especially hard to print because it's very large. So if you tried to print out the spreadsheet, it would either be so small you couldn't read it, or it would be, I mean, it's impossible to read on your phone as a whole. Like you'd have to zoom in to each section to read it if you're trying to look at it on your phone. But the system that we're using has an app, so that's helped. It just isn't laid out like a spreadsheet. So I start with the spreadsheet when I'm putting things together, when we're figuring out who's teaching when and all of that. I start in that layout so that I can see everything kind of in front of me, but then when we put it onto the website, it's laid out kind of top to bottom. So that's a little bit different, and this year we tried a different layout for that. I like it a little better. I think it's a little cleaner and easier to read. So we're working with that, but there are some limitations to,
Yeah, no,
you know.
it's wonderful. There's something about the scroll. I mean, the spreadsheet obviously is very, and a reminder, of course, to people like me that when you get to VOAtlanta, you get given the layout and the information. So it's not like you have to memorize it or learn it or anything. It's not.
Right.
There's no obligation, is there? But I
Yeah,
love
this
this.
year the printed versions will look more like the website than we won't have the big spreadsheets printed out this year. We found most people were either not using it or chucking it. They get it in their bag. So if you really love the spreadsheet printout, you might want to print it out yourself.
Lovely.
Um, but everything that's in on the website will also be in the printed book, and there'll also be an app, and it's also still on the website. So we figure there's a lot of places where people can get the information they need for. There's so much content that it's kind of hard to keep track anyway.
No, there really is. There really is. We're already quarter of an hour in, so I'm going to take advantage a second and just remind everybody what we're here chatting about today. We are looking to have a conversation about VOAtlanta. We've been joined by Joel Froomkin, who I know is keen to talk about the X-Sessions. So I'm just going to mention that on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, on one of each of the days, there are X-Sessions. I'm going to come back to explain what the sessions, the breakout sessions, and the X-Sessions are, or I'm hoping that Lynn and Jessica will. But I'm going to give Joel a moment to share his X-Session information, if he'd like to. Hi, Joel.
Oh, oh my gosh. Hi, Anna. Hi, everybody. Oh, that's so nice of you to let me just jump on in. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, I am so excited about it. In fact, what's kind of super fun is that what I'm actually teaching, in a big part, Anna actually got to experience when we were on Audiobooks at Sea last year, because that's when I sort of first composed the idea of the project. So what I'm teaching on Sunday at 8:30 in the holy crap, why would anyone want to do this morning AM. I'm teaching an X session that is called Cracking the Code of Character Creation, Laban and the Voice. And like, here's the thing. This is applicable to anybody in any VO medium, animation, dubbing, video games, all that stuff. If you've ever been in an audition and you're like playing a villain, or you're playing like some fairy or something, or an orc, or just like a hero or whatever, and they say to you, can you try it another way? And you're like, or can you make it more this, or can you make it more that? And your brain just kind of goes, oh my god, how do I do this and make it feel like it's another real person rather than I'm just pulling another voice out of my butt? This will completely transform the way you do this. Laban is this super specific way of creating a wide variety of characters that connects the psychological aspects of a character to the physical and vocal qualities in a way that makes you feel totally connected, totally in it. It's a full body experience. If you've ever had to like voice twins who just needed to sound a little bit different, or like a whole gang of like, a gang of thugs or a gang of orcs or a trio of oracles. This happens all the time in books where the author will be like, they spoke as one voice, but you can tell which each one is by their personality. But how do I make them talk with one voice? This is how you do it. It's a deep dive into a technique that's called Laban. It is really fun, really applicable, a concrete system for invention, inspiration, and notation that so many of my students have said is a game changer. And it opens up these possibilities to create endless character voices in a way you'd never thought about before. And this is a total deep dive. This isn't like, oh, you should read this book or you should come take a longer session with me or whatever. I am going to give you all the concepts, all the tools. You're going to be up on your feet, getting to try it out and play. And like, you're going to feel characters in your body in a way you've never have before. You're going to be able to notate them and remember them. When you're doing fantasy books, you sometimes have like 45, 50 characters. This is how you can be like, okay, I know exactly who this is. I can switch exactly into this voice on a dime. And you're going to feel so much more immersed in your character work and feel like you have such a variety in your toolbox in a really concrete way that is so empowers the actor and opens up totally their way of thinking about voice work. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, again, it's Sunday at 8:30 in the morning. Bring Starbucks. And it's going to be so fun. And I'm again, this is not audiobook only centered, and I'm so honored to be able to teach it. I'm really excited. And I think Anna will agree that actors really respond to it. I hope. Anna, don't lie. Tell the truth.
No, I'm glad you came up and told us all about it, Joel, because I think it's I mentioned to you separately, I think it's an incredibly useful tool, and not just for audiobooks, but for character work full stop, which of course in animation and video games is what it's all about. So I think people would be very, very excited to hear about it. So thank you very much for coming up, and do come and join us on the 11th of March if you're free. We're going to have another chat here on Clubhouse all about VOAtlanta, and hopefully inviting all the other audiobook people that are going to speak at the conference. So that'll be fabulous. Thank you very much for
I
stopping by.
will. I will be there. You're amazing. Thank you so much, and thanks for helping spread the word about this amazing event.
Lovely.
I'm so excited to get to see you in a few weeks.
Yes,
All right,
indeed.
bye.
Lovely. Thanks ever so much, Joel. Thank you. Lynn, do you want to give us an overview of the different things that go on? So not just audiobook specific, but I'm aware that on the anybody who's pressed the link I put at the top of the page can see all the different X sessions that run every day. But then there's general things and breakout sessions and panels and all sorts. And you're probably better, or Jessica, to give us an overview of kind of how the conference works.
Sure, Jessica, do you want to take that one?
Sure.
I can jump
Yeah,
in.
sounds good. So there are the panels, which are a moderated discussion between, five, six, seven people, maybe eight on some of the panels are kind of crowded, about a particular topic. Those usually are about 50 minutes. They tend to be in a little bit bigger room to accommodate the all of the people that want to come and listen and interact with them. There's also usually time at the end for a Q&A from the audience. Then there are 50-minute breakout sessions. Those are kind of a topic that either one instructor or maybe multiple instructors cover. It could be anything from something performance to something, from, say, an agent or a casting director or a coach talking about a particular topic or a style. It could be business. I mean, like I teach business stuff because business geek, and I want to make business less scary for people, particularly creatives who want to be creatives first. So those are topics that are kind of touched on. They're more, you get as in depth as you can, but you really are kind of not getting into the meat of it like you will with an X session. So the panels and the breakouts are part of your general admission ticket. There's no extra cost for those beyond what you've paid for your general admission ticket. And you don't have to sign up to go to those. You can kind of come and go as you please between those sessions. The X sessions, however, those are 3-hour intensives. There's a max number of people in that room of 12, and you have more individual time, as a group with the instructor, and they get into in depth into whatever topic it is that they're covering in those sessions. Those sessions are an additional cost beyond the general admission ticket. They are $247, and so you do have to be a registered attendee to be able to access those sessions. We've had that question before. You can't just take X sessions and not be an attendee. And golly, yeah, so that's sort of the structure. Now, there is a video replay that comes with your admission to the conference. About a month after the conference, we'll have everything, chopped out and tip and tail slides so you can tell what things are. We'll have that available. The sessions that are recorded on the video replay are going to be your panels, your breakouts, opening and closing ceremonies, keynote speaker. What will not be there are the X sessions. So if you want to get the information in an X session, you have to have you have to sign up for it, pay for it, and have your butt in the seat. So that's kind of how that all works.
I must just say out loud how very worthwhile they are, and
Mm-hmm.
despite the extra cost, they're a complete bargain. The environment of being at the conference for those 3 or 4 days, and then being able to sit down in a small group, in a private room, in a really intense moment with an absolute expert is second to none. It's just not an experience you get anywhere else. It really isn't. So we do so much stuff online now that actually being able to be in the room with somebody is amazing. So a huge thanks to you for organizing those.
There's also included in your ticket, you get lunch on Friday and lunch on Saturday. And there are a lot of fun activities in the evenings. On Thursday, there's a mixer before the opening ceremonies and the keynote. Friday, there's a karaoke party. Saturday, there's a wig party. So if you have wigs, bring them along. Put on your craziest wig and come party with everybody. So there's plenty of time to meet people just as a human, on the human level, and where you're getting to know these casting directors and these agents and these coaches just as people, which is one of the best parts of the conference. Because then when you are auditioning, let's say you've had a drink and talked about your dogs, or maybe you own the same type of cat, or your kids play the same sports or something. So you have the opportunity to get to know these people in that way, and then they remember you. You're not just a name on a file with an audition. They're remembering you, or they've had a great interaction with you. They can say, "Oh, that I think that was the dog person that I met. They were very cool." So then, it's just a great way to network and get to know the people who can cast and hire, but also train you, but also your colleagues. Because don't forget that word of mouth between colleagues is also a really great way to get work, right? I mean, there's been plenty of times where we've had people say, "Hey, I have a client who's looking for fill in the blank. So send me your fill in the blank demo and I'll get it to them." So the atmosphere in that way is beneficial to your business as well. So that's one of the things we love about it the most, I think.
Yes, yes. No, I highly agree. Let me run through a second then having had Joel up already, let me tell you what the other X sessions are that are available. So on the Thursday, Scott Brick is doing audiobook noir, so a deep dive into the genre of noir audiobooks. On the Friday, Ray Porter is doing a session called Let the Text Speak for Itself. On the Saturday, Sean Pratt is doing a nonfiction deep dive, so that's an X session that's separate to the conference. And then on Sunday, Joel's Laban session, which sounds incredible. But over and above that, all day, every day, within the schedule, you'll see that there are breakout rooms and panels and X-Sessions and Spanish breakout rooms. So there's a whole Spanish section that's also going on at the same time, a Spanish language part of the conference, and then an audiobook section, which is separated out and it's entitled audiobooks. So they're really easy to find, which is lovely. And all day long, there's introduction to audiobooks and creating deals with independent authors. And Julie Wilson's joining us to talk about Ahab and the casting that they do there. There's panels about social media and websites. I'm just flicking through the schedule, which you can all do. So it's just a cacophony and a plethora of, I can't think of any bigger words, but it's wonderful. There's so much going on and it's super exciting. And I'm actually really interested to know that actually there are, I think it's about 15 people that I know from the UK who are flying over to do VOAtlanta. I'm thrilled that I'm actually already going to be out there, so jet lag isn't going to be an issue for me, which how it was the last time round. So I'm absolutely excited by that.
That's
Hoping to
great.
get much more out of it. And the hotel, this is just for anybody who's not been before. I feel like the hotel is so beautifully placed and so well laid out that there never seems to be a rush or a crush. There always just seems to be enough space. And I'm always surprised when I hear how many people there were, considering the fact that it all flows so beautifully. And I'm sure that's down to the incredible organization. Are there hundreds of people behind the scenes making all that happen once it actually gets to the day?
No. Jessica is a master of all things. And there's a team of volunteers, but it's not hundreds. But yes, there are. So there are people who help us out, and but we're a pretty tight crew who take care of everything.
Yeah, I think our
Wonderful.
volunteer team is maybe about 20 people, and then we have some folks that help with LV, AV. They have a team, and even their team's pretty tight. I don't think they have more than like 10 people helping them set up and tear down and stuff like that, and then just a few people on site during the whole event. So we run a pretty tight ship.
Yep. And the way that
Incredible.
the schedule's laid out, every breakout or panel, all of the things that are included in your general admission ticket are 50 minutes long, so that there's a little time for you to get from one to the next without having to race. And like Anna said, most of the classrooms are pretty close to each other. So 10 minutes is plenty of time to get from one room to another as long as you leave on time. And we try to have the speakers know that they really need to end on time. So giving people a chance to get out of the room without feeling like they're going to miss that final gem and then race to the next room for their classes. But it is a long day. So a couple things that I would keep in mind if this is your first time coming, there's a lot of content. But keep in mind that everything that is in the general admission ticket is available on replay. So if you get to a point where you're just wiped out, rest, because it turns into a long weekend, and you want to make sure that you're pacing yourself. And if you have the juice to go nonstop every hour on the hour until it ends, then great. But if you don't feel like you're going to miss something, because there is a chance to go back and listen on the replay. Take care of you while you're there. There's hydration stations in a lot of places. There's also, Jessica, I'm going to steal your title, but Jessica calls them caffeination stations. So there'll be places to get tea and coffee where you won't have to waste an hour standing in line at the little bodega that's available in the hotel. Although you can, if you want something fancy, you'll have to go there. But if you just want, coffee with a creamer or something, you can get a coffee or a tea and water, but take care of yourself, stay hydrated, and dress in layers because J. Michael Collins likes it cold. He wears a suit. He's going to be nice and warm in his suit. If you are the type who gets cold, bring layers because some rooms, especially the larger rooms, last year they were cranked to the point where we had Canadians complaining that they were cold. So be prepared, because sometimes once you crank the number down to get it colder, then it's too cold. And then you have to crank it and wait for it to warm back up. So just be warned that if you're the kind of person who gets cold easily, bring a sweater, bring a sweatshirt, bring something you can, wear pants instead of shorts if you're the type who gets cold. If you love it cold, then you're going to be super happy.
We even have, it's really funny because it's just so known that if you go to an event with J. Michael, that you're probably going to be cold if you're a person who gets cold easily. That somebody had suggested that we needed to have some throw blankets as merchandise that people have available to them. And so we did it. So we have an on demand merch site where people can order what they want, have it shipped to their house, and bring it with. That way, we don't have to worry about having a merch table too, and people can get it if they want. But that is one item that people are buying on our merch site. There are these like little lap blankets that they have a lobster holding a VOAtlanta logo, the VA little logo, um, because some people want the lap blanket. Something else I was going to mention too that's new to the conference this year is the First Contact program. We just announced it. I think what was it last week on Friday,
Yeah.
and that's the idea behind that is that there are lots of folks who maybe haven't been to the conference ever, and so they're kind of nervous about it. They kind of like to have somebody there to give them a little guidance. There are people who have been there multiple times and they still get nervous, and it'd be great to have a buddy. And then there are people there that have tons of knowledge and information, and they love people and they want to help those people out. And so we have a program that's connecting them called First Contact. There's a few of us who are Trekkies in the group. And so there's voice guides. Those are the folks that are helping people who would like some help and guidance during the conference. And then there's voice cadets for those who are the ones seeking the help. So if you're somebody who hasn't been to the conference before, you're just nervous about it, and you've been there before, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. If you feel like you want to be part of that program so that you have somebody there to kind of be a guide and a friend at the conference, just there's a way to sign up for that. And I can see about pulling that link and getting that put into the chat, and you can sign up. And then our coordinator, Tiffany Breschers, will match people, and then you'll have somebody there.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was on the shop looking at the throw blankets still, so I'm I do apologize, but I love that. I got the email about the first contact, and I love that idea because a lot of people do worry, particularly, it's a lot of money, it's a long way to go. And a lot of people, particularly for their first conference, might not necessarily know anybody else. So the idea of knowing that there's a point of contact when you get there, somebody you can actually just stop and go, what am I doing right now? Because it can be overwhelming. I'm so glad you said earlier, Lynn, about looking after yourself, because I'm aware I went as a speaker when Gerald was still running it, and then as an attendee 2 years ago. And I highlighted all the things I wanted to attend. I highlighted all the things I would attend if I could and wasn't already in another room. And then I highlighted all the stuff I was going to have to watch afterwards because I couldn't be in two places at once. And on the days, I ended up meeting so many gorgeous people in the passageways and in other rooms, and then stopping for coffee or stepping outside a minute because we were freezing. There was so much else going on. It's a wonderful opportunity to be able to kind of just throw yourself into what is ultimately a space where everybody is loving all the things you love. So I love the fact that the first contact allows people to feel welcomed and to feel included, and not to be overwhelmed by those initial moments at new conferences where you don't really know how stuff works or what's going on. It's very clever.
Absolutely. We also have we bring it back every year. I think it's happened every year of the conference is the team challenge will be back. If you've been before, the way the team challenge works is you sign up. We're going to open signups. It'll be part of the registration process. We're going to open that next week or this week. This week, Friday. Right, Jessica? I forget when we're doing it. We'll announce it soon. You'll get an email. There will be a post in the Facebook group. So the way the team challenge works is you sign up and then you'll be assigned to a team you've never met. You will get an assignment of a client, and you'll have to research it, find out their mission, put together a short commercial spot. So if you want to get involved in that, you have to do it. It's like meet everybody, figure out what you're doing all within 24 hours, record, process, do the whole thing, produce it, and then during the closing ceremonies, all of the teams, their spots get played, and the client chooses a winner. And so the winner gets some prizes. They get to come back next year, usually. So that's always fun. And last year we opened it up, and I just checked. Oh, I wonder if anyone signed up, and we had 70 people we were like, "Oh, shoot, we're done. Signed up's closed." That was one thing we learned, was that people were really interested, so, we know better this year, so if you see the email, sign up quickly if you're interested, because it won't stay open very long because we fill up really fast. But that's another way to meet people and interact, and you're all working and contributing to a short ad for a client. And I did it the first time I went, the first two times actually that I went to VOAtlanta. I signed up for the team challenge, and I have friends that I'm still in contact with from that experience today. So we're trying to have more ways for people to get involved with each other as well, and to not feel alone or scared of traveling and not knowing anyone.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for being so thoughtful. I've just changed the link at the top of the page. All of these links are going to be in the chat. Jessica's very kindly just put in the contact page for the first contact sign up sheet. But I put at the top of the page the speakers that are going along to VO Atlanta that are specific to audiobooks, just so people know. So Billy Fulford Brown is going to be there, Suzanne Freeman, Andre Santana, Scott Brick, Ray Porter, Sean Pratt, and Joel Froomkin, who we just met, who very kindly came in and chatted. And there's, as I mentioned, and me. And there's all sorts of panels and breakouts and the 4 X-Sessions that we mentioned, and real opportunity to actually have some really deep conversations about whatever it is you're interested in. Now, I often say to audiobook people, the reason I like VO Atlanta is that if you are interested in other forms of long form VO, it's a great way, if you came into audiobooks from real life, it's a great way to find out what the rest of the industry is offering. You know, the Anne Gangoots are doing e-learning stuff, or Dave Walsh's True Tell, that's now infamous. You know, there's so much going on and so much to be had that you can really kind of dip in and out of all the different kinds of things to go, is this for me? Is this something I want to look into? Do I want to discover what else is going on in the VO world? And as a voiceover, if you are interested in audiobooks, having everything at the conference all in one place again allows you to step in and out of different rooms and find out, what people's personalities are like and whether you'd like to work with them, which is just such a great thing to be able to do. So yes, let me think of some more questions. Lynn, have you got more to share?
I was gonna say, that one of the main missions when J. Michael and Anna took over again was to bring back the audiobook. The audiobook content had been part of VOAtlanta Integrated, but it got pretty big. So there was a number of people who were coming, and primarily for the audiobooks. So Gerald kind of sectioned it off and put all the classes downstairs. And so it was kind of two conferences happening at the same time a little bit, and it felt a little disconnected. So one of the missions was to bring that back into the fold. So again, anyone who's interested in audiobook, who maybe is primarily doing corporate work or commercial work, that they could take an audiobook class and learn from these fantastic speakers, people who are really, know the industry, have been in it a long time, are, narrating tons and tons of books and very successful, and learning from them. But then also, audiobook people could take one of the other classes, or, sit in on a gaming class, or go find out what's going on in animation and figure out how to enhance their VO businesses and their careers and explore new things. As we're one unit. Audiobooks are a genre in VO. I know that there are lots of special carved out events for audiobooks, and that world is wonderful and the community is fantastic, but it's also still part of the larger VO world. So we want to make sure everyone feels that way and isn't sectioned off in their own, I don't know, little silo.
Yes, they're section of the industry, absolutely. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Rich is mentioning that he already signed up for APAC and he can't afford both. And I always say the same thing, Rich. These calendars are pretty much set throughout the year, and VO Atlanta will be back again next year, as will
Absolutely.
APAC, but it'll be online. So a great excuse to start thinking about it for next year. I was going to mention something else that has completely slipped my mind. Let me just do a recap. We've only got 20 minutes left, so thank you very much to. Oh, sorry, Rich, I didn't realize you'd been before. Do feel free to come up and share your experience. We're chatting about VOAtlanta today, so if anybody has any thoughts or questions or past experience that they'd like to share about how great it is, I'm sure lots of people will be listening on replay and will be interested to kind of hear general thoughts about how it works and what it's like. So please do come on up and share that with us.
I will say for the Sunday X-Sessions, even though it starts at 8:30, usually, it gives people something else to do. There's nothing else going on. You're not going to miss out on anything else if you take Joel's Sunday X-Session. You will have to check out anyway if you're staying in any of the hotels, really. So unless you're from Atlanta, you'll have to check out and hang out and wait. You don't wanna miss the closing ceremonies either. There's usually a lot of fun, festive donation types. We announced the Unicorn Award, and it feels like at the end, it's you get a coaching and you get a coaching. There's usually a lot of giveaway raffle at the end. So that's always great. And so you want to stay for that anyway. So you might as well sign up for Joel's fantastic class.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lynn. Rich has been very kind and joined us up here on the sofa. Rich, thank you very much for stopping by and saying hello.
My
Tell,
pleasure.
thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Tell us,
Uh,
tell us your thoughts.
well, I thought I would clarify too that I have been to VOA several times and have had a great experience. I highly recommend it to anyone who's considering really a one-stop shop for all things VO. But honestly, it sounds like this year's audiobook track will be extremely robust, and I'm glad to see that. Just to be clear, the only reason that I signed up for APAC this year is I've never been. So I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to go to that. But VOA is definitely one of the places that I have met some of the best contacts in the industry that I've talked to so far. I met our friend Steve Corona there, many other people that I've met through the years. And there were a couple of years where the audiobook track was somewhat diminished or maybe even tucked away, as it were. But the last conference I attended, it had grown exponentially, and we do see a tremendous number of high value talent, coaches, trainers, industry leaders. So if you are considering it and you haven't pulled the trigger yet, yeah, I'll put it in there. Do it. Take advantage of it because it's a great place to go and learn.
I love what you said, Rich, about making friends there. There's something lovely about conferences, isn't there? As Lynn mentioned about the taking part in the competition, there's something about the nature of being in such an intense space talking about the same thing with people who love the thing that you love, that they're friendships that you make for life. So it's lovely to remember that that's also another very good reason to go to these conferences, is to have a friend to be able to chat with about all things industry related. That's lovely. Thank you very much again for stopping by and saying hello to us. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. I did want to point out too, if anyone is exploring other avenues of VO, this is a great place to not only expand your audiobook learning and get all the opportunities to learn there, but if you've been curious about one particular discipline or another, there's probably not a better place to go where you can try these on. Just step into a session, take a look at it, see what you think, or as Lynn and Jessica mentioned, watch the recording later because you're not going to miss it if you're not sitting in the seat, but it's there. It's accessible to you. So it's a great place to try other disciplines.
I would also mention that if you are already signed up to go to VO Atlanta, that there is an attendees Facebook group. So definitely look for that and join. If you're going, or if you've gone in past years and you haven't joined the Facebook attendees, once you have been an attendee, you are welcome to join that group. There's also a regular VO Atlanta Facebook page, and we put lots of information out there. So if you want to keep up on what's going on or who the speakers are, lots of promo happens there for the content that's going, and it's only going to get ramped up since we're a little more than a month out. And yeah, so join the Facebook. I know for some, Facebook's like, oh, Facebook, but come back, come back to Facebook, if only for VO Atlanta's sake.
The groups are a really good reason to stay, aren't they? It's terrible. I've been talking about leaving Facebook for quite some time, but the groups bring me back every time.
Right.
Talk to us, Lynn, about your weekly. I've just had my email from VOAtlanta reminding me that the VOAtlanta Clubhouse chat will be on tomorrow. How's that been going for you? Because you've done a couple of sessions already, haven't you? And is it every
Yep.
single week?
It when we did it, the very first one we did was in January, and then we skipped a week. But now, yes, it's every week. So we did it last week. We'll do it again tomorrow, and every week until the week before. So we have 5 left to do, including tomorrow. It's great. It's every time we have some of the same speakers come back, but then others come. We have, I think the count now is 170 speakers, people who are presenting at some level, either on a panel or teaching a class or doing an X session. Some people are doing a lot, some people are doing one thing, but in that list, there's hundreds of people. So there's always somebody new or a lot of somebody news. The way we run it is I pitched some questions to Jessica. She's our resident expert on all things VOAtlanta. So she does the beginning, an explanation of everything, and some of which we talked about here today. But we change that up every time as well to give a little more information about what people can expect. And then we just invite speakers like Joel to come up and give their amuse-bouche elevator pitch of their class. We had, gosh, I want to say we had 15 or more speakers come last week. It took a little bit more than an hour. We allotted for 90 minutes just so that we weren't like, hey, we have to cut you off. And we went like 10 minutes over the hour last week. Um, so that kind of depends on how many speakers are available to us. And some will come on and then have to jump off quick because they are very busy. So yeah, but it's going well. You should come. Everyone's welcome. There's a number of them. Come to any or all of them.
Tell us what time,
Oh,
Lynn.
yes, sorry. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 a.m. Pacific, and whatever time's in the middle. Or on the in UK time. I guess that's what, 7 p.m. for
Yes,
you?
yes, 5 hours ahead. Thank you. Brilliant. Steve Corona says, speaking of speakers, what's the best way for one to be considered for next year?
Jessica, you want to take that, or I can?
Golly, I don't know that there's a best answer for this. The way that we did it this year and the way that we did it last year, there is a point where we do a call for speakers, and that call goes out through the Facebook attendee group, which is another reason you should join that so that next year, if you're interested in speaking, you can see that call go out. And that's how we kind of pull people together for some of the topics. If you're wanting to speak specifically about audiobooks, Scott's your guy because he's coordinating the audiobook program, and so reaching out to him would be the best way to do that.
Yeah, let Scott know. But also, this is one of the areas where we're going to change some things behind the scenes. So for you
Yeah.
guys, you'll just look for that call for speakers information and follow the instructions, which will be hopefully a little bit different than we did it for the past couple of years. We're just trying to get it. Oh, there's Sean Pratt. Hi, Sean. We're getting things organized, but yeah, there'll definitely be a call. The way that the speakers are selected, J. Michael is 100% involved in that. But on the audiobook side, yes, Scott Brick is the curator of that program. There's also Valentina Latina, who does the Spanish program curation. So if you're a Spanish speaker and want to be involved in that, she's the person to reach out to as well. You can always reach out to info@VOAtlanta and ask us, explain what you're looking for and ask us, and we'll direct you to the proper person.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry. It's voatlanta.me. I always say .com. It's wrong. voatlanta.me.
thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, not at all. And we have been joined in the last 10 minutes by Sean Pratt. Sean, thank you very much for joining us. He's found the microphone already. Well done. Um, I was about to do my lecture on how the system works. We had Joel join us very early on in the hour just to chat with us about his X session, and we've been chatting throughout the hour about the general feel of the conference, how it works, what different things there are. And one of the things I listed was that on the Saturday afternoon, you're doing a non-fiction deep dive X session. Would you like to share some information about that or talk about it at all?
Since you're twisting my arm, absolutely. Yes, I'm doing a deep dive into my some basic concepts that I teach my students in my program. We're going to talk about the acting concept that I use in my narration work that I teach my students, which I call the TED Talk concept. We're going to be breaking down what I call the four voices of nonfiction. Oftentimes, when I'm listening to a nonfiction read, when for my own enjoyment, it's hard to delineate from the performance, say, when the narrator is teaching us the main idea the author wants to share, or when they're commenting, or sometimes like attributions or quotes and so on. And so I have developed a system to 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 allow the narrator to isolate those almost like character voices. So the class is going to be mainly about me sort of performing for you. So I'll be the dancing clown, and we'll be going around doing sample work within the class. But mainly it'll be sort of an introduction to these concepts with a handout, copious notes, and everybody's going to have a wonderful time. There's still a room left on the event, but it's a workshop that I've done previously at VOAtlanta, and to a lot of really wonderful feedback. And this was about 2 or 3 years ago. And I thought it might be good to do it again to a new group of narrators who are coming on board. If you're one of my former students, there's several in the audience, you will know the concepts. But if you're looking for a refresher, please join us. We'd love to have you. I say we, me. And I'd love to have you. And also, not only the X session, which I'm very excited to be doing, but I'm on a passel of other panels during the event with other wonderful coaches, and also doing some live coaching with a number of my colleagues on several days, which I'm very excited about. So, if you can't make it into my class for whatever reasons with scheduling, please look me up on the calendar, on the itinerary, and we can, please come up and say hi, and please join us for the other panel discussions and events. But yes, if you want some hands-on, uh, nitty-gritty kind of information you can take away to use in your nonfiction reads, then by all means, please join me on Saturday at 1 o'clock. I do believe that's the
Yep,
time.
that's right. 1 o'clock
Yeah,
on
and
Saturday.
and I can do a longer form of this. Ironically, I just sent Lynn and Jessica a an email saying, "When can I be on the Clubhouse thing you're doing every week?" So I'll make an
Every
appearance
week. Come
shortly.
back every week.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm very excited about coming back and teaching this to get people excited about the about my own the techniques I teach. But there's one other class I'm very excited about teaching. It's one that I pitched Scott on a few months ago, and it's really sort of the cornerstone of the new nonfiction book I'm writing about helping freelancers learn how to negotiate. And if you look it up on the itinerary, it's called "No!" exclamation point, how the shortest word in the English language can have a major impact on your career. And it's really about how we can set up a system for ourselves as freelancers to evaluate any offer that comes in the door so we can come up with a good counteroffer. So, uh, this is the cornerstone of the book I'm writing currently. And if you'd like to have a little preview of what that concept is like, please, by all means, join me on Friday, March 21st. I think it's from 3 to 4 o'clock.
Yep.
And get a quick overview. And I would love to see as many people there, even former students, to come in and to share in the information. That's my spiel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sean, do you have any? We've only got 4 minutes left, but do you have any overview thoughts about VO Atlanta as a conference with regards to? We've talked about kind of the quantity of people, and I've talked about how I think it's amazing that the hotel kind of hides the number of people that there are. It detracts from the actual quantity. Lynn's mentioned how cold it is and to take layers because it can be chilly. Not desperately so, but more so than you might imagine. Air conditioning is a great invention. Is there anything you think that people that's specific to VO Atlanta as opposed to any of the other conferences that you might have attended?
Pace yourself. Pace yourself. It's several days, and it's there's always going to be some, after it's all done, you're going to get sucked into some like little after party at a bar or whatever. And it's very easy the first couple days to go overboard. And then you're run down for the rest of it when you need to be on your game or when you're trying to schmooze with people. So drink plenty of water, get good sleep, and don't go too crazy until maybe until the last night. We can all be hungover on Sunday at the last bit, I guess. And just the practicalities. Make sure you have your business cards with you, and make sure you have a little. I always carry like a reporter's notebook and a pen with me to make notes, about little things that pop in my head. Because if I suppose you can use your phone for that too, but I like to write things down. Um, there's so many wonderful people who come that it can be overwhelming, but it's good to take a few moments throughout the day of each day to collect your thoughts and jot things down so you can then review it later. So those would be my two. That was my experience the last time I was there. It was just, it was so easy to go out and whoop it up, and then by the end of the week, you're just in tatters, and then you have to uh, go back to your normal life of living in the booth. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for stopping by. It was very kind of you to do so. Lynn and Jessica, I'm going to give you the last word before we close up the room here at the top of the hour. Any last thoughts while you're with us?
Well, I would say we have posted some conference math to show you how your investment in a ticket to VOAtlanta is worth a lot more than you think. I did the math. One person, if they go full out, can go to 25 sessions over the weekend, and that doesn't include going to any X sessions. So 25 just in the general ticket, which if you did regular prices for a webinar or some other class that you would take, you end up paying $697 for a ticket and getting $550 in what we call free classes. You get a value of $550 additional dollars if you were to pay for these classes anywhere else. So the maths. So definitely, if you haven't considered coming, we hope you will. And you don't want to miss out on all the fabulous audiobook teachers, including Sean and Anna and others that are coming. So definitely get your ticket and come join us in Atlanta in March.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Jessica, I'm imagining you typing away and organizing all sorts back there. So I might leave you be, but any last thoughts before I close the room that you might want to share?
Uh, no, I would probably just sort of, echo what Lynn already said, and then just kind of say, hey, if you have any questions and they weren't answered here, or they come up between now and whenever, there's the clubhouses, the Ask Us Anything clubhouses that are running every week. You don't have to be, in a particular type of genre of voiceover to come. Just come and ask your questions there and come learn more about it. And then I put the info email in the chat. Ask us some questions if you have them, and Lynn and I monitor that inbox, and so we will answer your questions there as well. So we're available to you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to both of you for this hour, for your time. It was very much appreciated that we were able to focus on audiobooks for a little while and be excited about the conference at the end of March.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
Well,
having us.
having us.
thank you. Today we chatted with Lynn and Jessica from VOAtlanta, who very kindly gave up an hour of their time to talk us through the conference and what's going on there. My takeaways. It's a lovely time. I appreciate there's a lot going on in the world of conferences, but VOAtlanta is really special. So if you don't go this year, maybe go next year when APAC's going to be online anyway, and it'll be a great excuse to have something to look forward to. Thank you very much to everybody who participated today. Huge thanks to Joel and Sean who stopped by to chat with us. To those of you who were listening in, couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much for being here, and let's all go out and be our favourite selves. Thank you very much, everybody.